Hey everybody, it's Michelle LaVore and
Devin LaVore
coming at ya. And we're so glad that you're here, and we just pray that you guys are going to be blessed by what the Lord has to share. And I'm so glad to be here. It's been a while.
I'm saying people are out there going, yay, it's Michelle, yes.
But I just
so missed her.
But I just feel like we're in this transitional place with the Lord, and just kind of seeing where He's moving and putting the pieces of what He's doing in our life together. And we're going to kind of get into more of that. But yeah, so I'm so happy to be here and just be able to share with you guys kind of what's been going on for us recently. But before we begin, as always, we want to give a huge thank you to everyone who gives and continues to give in support of what God is doing in our lives. So big thank you to all of you. And we are support based, so if you would like to give, we have a PayPal link, Cash App, and Venmo below, and you can click any of those and give there. So all right. Yeah. Let's see. Well, I think when we were last talking, it was basically God, the beginning of the year, started me on this journey with what we called the blueprints. And it's basically, there's a home that we want to build. And, it's just been bubbling up. It's been a part of our whole journey. And we had like ideas on a paper. It's like, oh, we want simple things. You need a kitchen, you need, bedrooms, whatever. And so, but then God was really like, I want you to go into all the spaces, and I really want you to think about what you want these spaces to be like, and what you're going to need for each of these places. And so basically I spent 6.5 weeks with the Lord, really just going through. I was drawing out this individual spaces, because obviously you can have an architect or come in and piece everything together, since they know, and
give it the right dimensions.
Yes, my drawings were not
it was
to
hilarious.
Size.
It was hilarious.
It's like, if this was in real life, you just drew like a house as your master bedroom. Oh,
yeah,
oops.
For real. It was so cute.
It's just so funny. It's hard to get the spatial correctness.
Yeah. But that wasn't the point.
No, the whole point was just put your ideas out. And so God just took me through this whole process. And then what I did is I took the ideas on paper and I just wrote them out, so that we have a document that literally can just list, like, this is this space, this is what we really would like. Those are our top things that we would like in this space, and the feel of it and all of that. Therefore, we're really prepared and ready. And I feel like that's ultimately for really, I think a lot for me is just like being able to think through, process through, gather information, research things, so that when the time comes, it's like I'm actually ready to run. And so basically on the 19th of February, it was like I felt I was done. It got to this finished point. And it was like, all right, I think this is right where it needs to be. And it was basically that night, it was like, okay, I think we're 100% on what God wants to do here. And it literally was about 6.5 weeks of just working with the Lord, going through that. And then that night, I was really feeling like, yeah, there is going to be a shift. And again, sure enough, like on February 20th, it has been a major shift for us in just what God's doing. For me, it's like, okay, I'm done with these blueprints, and God is now moving into a different time for us, as far as just what He's doing in our daily life, how it what He's speaking to. And do you want to go ahead and just share like the 20th?
The 20th. You mean the vision of the ark?
Was that? Yeah, the vision of, yes, that's it.
Okay, yeah. What's the significance leading up to that, though?
Well, I guess the significance leading up to that.
I feel like there's something that it's an end cap, and I'm like, but what's the story?
Well, it was so basically.
Oh, I get it. Never mind. I got it. It's like the blessing on everything.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So, that day on the 20th, because we knew like we were 100% complete there with the building, right? With the just dreaming out everything. It was just like you can't really do more. I mean, you can always do more, right? Particularly as writers, you can always go back into your manuscript and do this and do that, and you can actually muddy it to death, But it's like ultimately, it's like you did a really great job. You're done. It's like, okay, I think I'm done. And so then the next day was a day where the Lord basically put His hands on. I felt like the Lord showed me this ark. And the ark was our family, like the Ark of the Covenant. That kind of like a chest, a treasure chest. And He's like, you guys are full. You're done. Like, you are completely full. Meaning, you started out empty in 2017. But man, I have put everything in this treasure chest of your family in the treasure chest, okay? Everything in your heart that I want you to have for right now. Everything, every dream, every vision, and every prophetic word, every supporting prophetic number and prophetic sign, and the ones that you have seen 101,000 times, okay? All of those things. It's all good. There's nothing more for me to put in there. So it's almost like the Lord was like saying Himself, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like a day 7, let's rest type of thing.
Yeah.
And then so as a result of that specific day, the day of February 20th, was a big deal. It was a special day, I think, for the Lord in the sense of like what a day 7 would be like. And then I just saw Him put both of His hands on the ark, and He blessed it. I forget, did He say something specific? I'm sure He did.
Yeah, I basically was saying like I'm blessing
everything within the ark, within your family, everything that I've put in you, and you have held fast. Revelation 3:11 has been a thing for us for years. It's like, hold fast to what you have, so your crown can't be stolen and all that. So the treasure that the Lord has given you can't be taken through doubt and fear and questions and wonderings and time frame and all that. Now, I'm holding on to it because this is what the Lord said, so this is what I'm going to hold on to. And the Lord's like, you've done that. You've been faithful. There's really nothing but accolades I can say to you. So I am blessing everything so basically, guys, like my hand of blessing is going to be on it. But I think the more important part was like, I'm going to start showing you.
Yes.
We're beyond, see, what's the significance? That's what it was. The significance of being so full is like, there's not much more I can tell you. It's not really about telling. I'm going to start showing you. Yeah. And from the 20th or from the 21st to this day, there's just been a lot of showing. God showing us like things being put on display as far as like things that we've been able to do and places we've been able to go and things that have happened in our lives that are just like we can physically touch them. We don't want to get in all the details because that's a whole video in itself, but God bless you, buddy. And so little guy's over here watching. Are you watching Bluey? No? Well, he's usually watching Bluey. Oh, okay. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but basically I feel like that on the 20th was it was a shift in, like you were saying, with the blessing of the Lord upon it, and Him saying like, hey, I'm going to bless relationships. I'm going to bless, what you do, and just, there's a whole word that went with it, but then it was just like you're seeing changes take place, and it very much feels like it would in spring. Or coming into spring, which was another significant part about just the idea that God's like, hey, I'm blessing you, is the 20th is pretty much, you could say the 20th or 21st, because winter begins December 21st, but it ends March 20th. So basically from February 20th to March 20th, that's like 1 month. And so I just was really sensing this, like we are now into late winter. And just that idea of as you enter into late winter, you're going to start to see things shifting and changing and moving.
Well, can I say the scripture?
Yes.
Because did you want that as a part of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jeremiah 1:11. You know, the Lord comes to him and says, Jeremiah, what do you see? He says, well, I see an almond tree, you know, blossoming in late winter.
Yeah.
You know, and then in verse 12, the Lord's like, basically like, oh, you've seen accurately. That's good, buddy. You're seeing correctly because I am active over my word to perform it. So see, that's where we're going. We're going into the Lord performing his word, not just hearing it. We've already had the word. We've received the word. But now it's like, God, I'm active over my word to perform it. And it's like, and it might even seem like it's late. He's late to perform it, but it's like, well, as long as he performs, we're good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the late winter word, that's been with me for like over 20 years. The Lord has given it to me. He's just like Abraham. Hey, Abraham, I'm calling you out, and this is what I'm going to do. Well, it was 25 years later when he received the promise. Wow. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, and it was in what, the year 2000. I'm just thinking, I'm like, whoa, that really literally was 25 years ago. Whoa.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was in the year 2000 where the Lord started talking to me about dreaming. And it's like, buddy, you got to have a dream. You can't just be like, you know, you can't just be serving everyone else's thing, because that's what I've called them to do, and you're serving it, and that's good. That's right. That's great. Not that God's saying anything about that, but it's like, what about my plan and purpose for you? What is that for you? It's like, well, Lord, I'm doing the purpose. I'm here at YWAM, and I'm doing this thing, and we're doing this, and it's like, but like, you got to have a dream. You got to dream. What is your dream? What have I put in you to dream? And that's when this whole thing started with the dreaming, and the Lord started with me being a dreamer, so to speak. That's what Joseph is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Joseph's a dreamer. Joseph's a dreamer. And so, okay, I just have to say, like, the Lord's been talking to me about like different kinds of anointings lately. But the one he hasn't talked to me about was like he's highlighted Joseph, and he's like, okay, now we're going to go into it and talk about the different things that this kind of anointing carries with it. But the one, we've gone through all of them except for Joseph, and I was like, well, I don't really know anything about Joseph. And here on this video, I realized, oh, Joseph, he was a dreamer. He was a dreamer. So it's just a little like, oh, you totally interrupted our video, Lord. Stop doing this. We're trying to make a video about you. We ask you to be involved, but not really. No, I'm just kidding. Don't break up the video. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens in churches. Oh, God, come visit. Let your presence come. And then the presence comes. Like, well, we didn't have that in mind. You know? No, we don't care. Like, the Lord can interrupt our video all he wants. It's his video. You know what I'm saying? But I just think that's funny. It's like, I was like, well, I don't know when we're going to get this Joseph thing, because we finished off with one this morning. It was like, well, maybe tonight, maybe, and it's like, boom, here on the video. That's why that was so funny, that little interruption thing. But I don't even know what we were talking about now. What were we talking about before that? Oh, the Lord was talking to me about dreaming, and that was like 25 years ago, but it was in an Abraham kind of way, like, Abraham, come out. And so, Devin, you need to come out of this place you're in and into dreaming. Come walk with me through dreaming. And then during that time, that's when the Lord said, I'm going to give you this promise. And during that, I'm going to give you this promise and this dream and this thing and that I'm going to do in your life. That was 25 years ago. And that's how long it was before Abraham, the man, saw the promise fulfilled, the promise performed over his life. And then the Lord gave me this word about Jeremiah 1:11, saying I'm fulfilling my word in late winter. Man, I think I've gone through about 20 late winters looking for something special, and it didn't happen. Although a lot of things have started around that time, but the big thing, we get a prophetic word and it seems like it's pointing toward the big thing. You just get really excited, right? Mm-hmm. That's just normal. And then it doesn't happen, and you're just like, And I think that the thing of it is, I think part of the process, I could be wrong. I'm not saying thus saith the Lord, okay? But I think part of the process is to get you so, not necessarily beat down, but so depleted of self that, I don't know, you're just walking with the Lord, and that's it. Mm-hmm. That's all you're doing. Yeah, you're seeing the signs and you're hearing the prophetic words and all that, and you are being responsible with them to keep them. You're not going, oh, that prophetic word, it hurts me, so I'm not going to listen to it. No, you're just like, yeah, it hurts. I don't like handling this. I don't like handling cactuses, but whatever. Mm-hmm. That's part of the thing. There's, ow, thanks. See, that's why I don't like doing cactuses. But here, let's put it on the shelf. This is where it's supposed to go. And see, during that process, God's testing you to see, are you still going to be faithful? Mm-hmm. It's like I'm asking you to go sacrifice the promise you've done received and raised to a man already. It's like, are you still going to be faithful? You see, the Lord just wants to know if your heart's for him. But in light of that, having this late winter time and all the stuff that's happening right now, it's like, Lord, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. What are you? Don't mess with us.
But it was also cool because the Lord was really kind of, I think, showing or revealing more about the late winter, because I think also with words from the Lord, it's like, one, I feel like sometimes they can be applied in multiple situations. Like it could be a literal late winter, but we were also talking about like this idea of God performing something in late winter, in the sense that you're in a winter wilderness season of life, but then if you take the whole life, but then you take even these last 7 years or 8 years, that could be considered the late winter. Yeah. And so it was like, wow, like God really is moving in late winter in the sense of like a bigger picture. But then there's also the reality of God literally moving in late winter and him changing and shifting things. And I know that honestly in 2017, that's when God was moving. It was like, it was a different move of God. And actually I feel like particularly this year in 2017, it's almost like they really seem to be paralleling each other, in that in 2017 God was preparing us in the sense of putting things down, and he's saying, hey, we need to go into a deep freeze, where he's like, okay, we're stopping, we're freezing these things.
This year, you mean 2025?
Yeah, because instead of freezing things, God's thawing things out. And I feel like there's a sense of a lot of, at least for me, I feel like there's a thawing of places even in my heart where it's like, God, it's been difficult, and then God's bringing release and bringing just newness of life in those areas.
Well, it's interesting because the Lord said to me like 2024 was going to be like 2017, right? And then at the end of 2017, we get this miraculous flow of money that led us here, and I was expecting that at the end of 2024, but then the Lord was like 3 bonus months, and so I feel like that was bonus. A bonus adds to a previous cycle. Yeah. So I feel like we're still in that. So the fact that you're saying this mirrors that time is actually very encouraging, because I'm like, wow, yeah, because that 3 bonus months would attach itself to 2024, even though we're technically in 2025. See, time frames. That's your department.
But yeah,
it's really God's department.
It really is. But yeah, so I just feel like there's just this, what we've been experiencing, and there has just been some amazing breakthrough within our family. Like, God is really shifting and changing things, particularly from the start of February. There's been just a real highlight and emphasis on prayer and praying for one another, and that's just really been incorporated into our God times. And it started with the nation. It started with the nation.
Because there was some prayer that was needed to be happening there. But then the Lord was like, well, let's refocus and shrink it down. How about this nation right here? Mm-hmm. Let's pray for this nation.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
And so and it's just really been emphasized. And so we've just, okay, this is what we're doing. And I feel like we're really seeing how God is taking the prayers and he is answering the prayers, and he's demonstrating. He's showing, like, hey, I'm giving you release, breakthrough.
Not a promise to fulfill at some point, but literally on display. It's amazing.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, wow, God, what are you doing here? But this idea of the blessing on the ark, it reminded me of a vision that Devin had in the ancient ruins, where the Lord comes and he fills, first he comes to you and he's speaking to you, and then he basically comes to bless and says, hey, I call heaven and earth to witness I'm blessing this man. And then the Lord steps back and then extends his hands to our family and to our finances, and it happens basically at the same time.
Was major. It was like miraculous. I'm talking like Red Sea splitting major.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And so it was just reminding me of that, because the word came to bless. It's like, I'm here to bless this man. And
he used both hands.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I noticed with that vision. He used both hands on the ark, and you could tell he was dressed like, it was like the Lord himself, the high priest, Jesus, was dressed in this, like, this is an official moment. This is an official moment, and this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay. Cool. And then we've been seeing cool stuff from that point on. Not necessarily financially like we'd like, but
no, but it's just seeing the Lord move, seeing him start to change hearts that seem like.
We're going to talk about our firstborn experience.
Yes, well, just
you
that.
Want to?
Yeah,
I think we should.
So, with our oldest, it's been really difficult, and it's just been very difficult for him. But it was basically on Saturday, the 22nd. It was like God just broke through, and I actually had a dream that morning.
On 2/22?
Yeah, it was on 2/22.
For real, this was on 2/22?
Yeah.
Am I just realizing that now?
Yes.
Wow. This was on 2/22?
Yes.
Unbelievable. Go ahead. Something was born on 2/22.
Yes, but it was just this sense of, I had a dream of this baby boy being born, and I knew that it ended up reflecting our oldest, and it was like, this is a rebirth. And from that moment, it's been so different for him personally, so much. He literally woke up that next day and was just like, I feel like at rest.
So I just want to tell just a brief story. It's just going to be brief, but it's significant because, our firstborn son, his name is Joah. He was like the strong guy for a long time until we got to this place we called our delivery room, because the Lord said, I'm going to bring you here. This is going to be your delivery room, right? And it's been over 4 years now. And it was in this place that the Lord's like, here, I want to get you up to this ultimate, like, black belt level of I don't know, he just wanted to do things in his life that just, he was too broken because he was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and then the time frame just crushed him, and he was like, I'm done. I mean, he was really, really hurt and broken, and he's been walking in and dealing with that brokenness that we all actually, as adults, understand. You know, a lot of it makes us quit as adults, you know? And so there's been like a hardness over his heart as a result of the journey, and just trusting and believing that God's going to do anything that we keep saying he's saying. And there's been a lot of wrestling matches and, you know, talking spiritual and intellectual conversations regarding just, you got to keep believing the Lord. You got, he knows what he's doing. And we thought this and we thought that, but it doesn't change the word of God and all that stuff. And then there's been little, you know, Gatorades of encouragement here and there, but it's like, when is it gonna happen? We always keep hearing and we never keep seeing. That's been a difficult thing, right? But then lately, I feel like this year, you know, the Lord's been really always pursuing the heart, but just really focusing on just, well, what about just relationship with the Lord? Let's focus on who the Lord is and what he has done for us. And so, long story short, trust me, this is the short version. I was thinking about, somehow the Passion of the Christ, the movie, came up. And I was like, I was telling Joe, I was like, buddy, I basically, like, you just don't really have an understanding of what he went through for you. And I was going to say, man, you know what you need to do? You need to watch The Passion of the Christ. That's what you need. And then I was thinking like, ooh, man, maybe I should. That's probably not good. And then I felt like the Lord was like, do it. You know, he's like, yes, do it. You know, do it. And I was like, I don't know if that's the Lord. That could just be the, you know, the William Wallace Devin version saying, do it. Let's just. But it wasn't. The Lord was like, do it. And then so on 2:22.
Yeah.
He watched The Passion of the Christ and
it was interesting too because you were like, okay, I'm gonna watch it with him, and it just worked out to where you know, he was just in the other room.
Well, I felt like the Lord worked it out that way. He's like, this is perfect. I let it just be me and him. Yeah. You're done, buddy. Go on. Yeah. Let the Heavenly Father take over. Yeah. And that's what you want, right?
And it's been, you know, obviously God is always working on the heart. And actually back in November, I think there was just this real, like, focused, like, we're doing things differently. And so from there into coming into Saturday, I feel like all of it is just like layer upon layer. You know, the Lord is working and moving. And then, and so he watched the movie. You could just, I mean, obviously, he was definitely, his heart was moved by it.
Yeah, about 20 minutes into it, he was just like, whoa, okay, this is way more intense than I thought it was going to be. So that means he already had a thought about what he was going to see. Yeah. And it blew that completely out of the water. Yeah. And by the end of it, I mean, I would check on him like 2-3 times after that moment, and he was always just like... Yeah. I was just like, yep. Yeah. It's like, it's hitting him. Yeah. But not in a feel bad, guilty kind of way. No. He basically said that, like, wow, the Lord went through all of that. Oh, come on, man. The Lord went through all of that for me, and he still calls me friend. He said he did that for his friends. That means he did that for me. That means I'm his friend. And I think that was the thing that broke him the most. Like, wow. Like, you mean you still like me and you call me a friend after I've, like, totally just turned away and was like, no, you know, I will not believe. No, I've been hurt by believing. I'm not going to embrace a cactus. You know, you go handle the cactuses. I'll just watch you do it. I watch you get poked by it all the time. So no, I'm not handling cactuses. Yeah. You want me to hug it? No, thank you. Yeah. You know?
Well, and it was that morning I had gotten a dream about a birth.
About the birth? Yeah.
And it was just like...
And the doctors wouldn't listen to you?
Yeah. And,
is that birth or was that reality? I don't know.
but
or was that a dream or was that reality?
But then, you know, it was like I birthed this baby boy, and it was so interesting because, like, the baby comes out, and it was a baby, but it could talk like a 7-year-old, and for me, I was just seeing like, oh wow, like for our oldest, he was 7 when this journey really started.
In 2017?
In 2017.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like, oh my goodness, I feel like it was a sense of a rebirth and a renewal of the relationship that between him and the Lord, as if he's like, I'm going to be redeeming the years. So let's go back and we're going to start fresh.
From the beginning of the journey.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that is awesome.
And there's going to be new life and a birthing and a new heart and a new everything that comes with it. And then I feel like, so that was on Saturday, and then Sunday came, and it was just, I feel like for the last 3 days have almost been like celebration
of the birthing
with the Lord. And it's just like, wow, very much like, you know, the prodigal son comes home and
you mean specifically for Joah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's just like, look here, let's go experience some of those favorite things of his, you know, and it coming from the Lord, and just being able to
but it's like verifying all these other prophetic things that the Lord has been saying about, like, I'm not going to just say it anymore, I'm going to show it.
Yeah.
You know, and just to have Joah in this place of where he's just open again and he's receptive again, and even though the stress can hit him still, he handles it differently. It's just, this has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
You know, because he's tried many times, but then he always gets knocked back down. But this is definitely different. You can just tell, because he watched the depiction of what Jesus did and went through for him, and it just, see, Joe was the kind of guy that he needs intensity. He needs it in order to have an impact on his life. So that's why the Lord was like, do it. Like, that's exactly the kind of intensity that he needs in his face to get the message across. I remember when he was in the womb, you know, he could hear all kinds of music and all that stuff, right? But as soon as I plugged my guitar in and cranked on the distortion pedal, I was like, dun, 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 he would be like, ooh, what? Wait, what's going on? You know, right?
He would be so active. He'd just be kicking.
Be moving like crazy.
It was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, in the womb, every single time. Yeah. We did this one prayer thing called the Cry. And the Lord was like, man, I want this to be intense. I want this to be hardcore. I mean, I want prayers to go rippling through the skies, you know, like lightning. And I was like, all right. And I was just like, and so we were doing this really, most people that came in there would be like, this ain't a prayer meeting. And the Lord would be like, it is, come on, you know. And we were just rocking out, and we were praying and rocking out, and it was pretty fun. But during that time, like, he would be moving like all the time, right?
He would.
So the Lord was just showing us, even in the womb, like, he's an intense guy. He is very intense. He's just intense about everything. He's very super focused on everything, and just very like passionate and absorbed into everything. So then a person like that can get very, very intensely hurt. Yeah. When they get hurt, they get intensely hurt. And so you need an intense moment to wake you up. You need an intense hand of the Lord to bring healing. You know, and so God's like, I got all of that. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, and like I said, you know, with the praying and it's just like, wow, God, you are answering prayers, you're shifting things, and I kept getting, and I know it's from the movie Frozen, right? It's like love thaws a frozen heart. But I am telling you, it's just like that is what's happening. And of course, God is love. So God himself, his love for us thaws a heart. And and when something thaws, it's no longer hard. It's soft. And it's like, wow, here...
It's no longer frozen.
It's no longer...
It's no longer cold. Mm-hmm. It's warming up.
Yeah.
It's opening up to the idea of a thing, It's warming up to it's like, man, you keep rejecting all of my, you keep rejecting all of my appeals, but, now you're starting to warm up to it. What happened, you see?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I just feel like God's like, I'm stepping in, and he's saying, like, I'm demonstrating, like, it says, for God so loved the world that he gave, and he gave his only begotten son. Yep. And so I feel like, I don't know, just what the work that God is doing in Joa's life, and literally using the passion of the Christ, which is the ultimate gift God gave us, as the tool that was used to bring him and to birth him forward is just like, wow, God.
Yeah,
you are amazing.
He's doing super great, but it also translates to our whole family.
Yes.
Though, you want to talk about the fire truck and the flinging forward and all that stuff?
Yeah, and so God's always doing multiple things at the same time.
So much.
And as we've been over these last few days, we had a vision from 2022 where Jesus, he wasn't on the fire truck, but he was the start of the parade, and he's just flinging forth things to all those who were in position. And you said you didn't know what the things were, but they were good, and it was like exceedingly abundantly beyond what you could ask or think. Mm-hmm. And so it was just this idea of like, I was like, here, I'm giving you these good things that I just believe are meant to, again, kind of warm up the heart, like prepare it for what's getting ready to take place.
It's like a sense of like, well, when that's happening, it's like it's starting.
Yeah.
Like this parade is starting. It's funny because I was talking to the Lord on that day, or like, what was it? I forget what day it was. It was a couple days ago, the 21st maybe. And I was going like, God, when you destroyed the bench of waiting, you said, come on, let's go. The parade's about to start. And then we went on those leaf-touching trips. That was back in the summer of 22. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and then it's like, okay, then we got to this sidewalk in the vision. And that walk across the beach from the dock to the sidewalk was like, 37 days? Mm-hmm. And then we're like, it's like there's just this, I'm so confused because it's like you said, it's about to start. That was about 2 years ago. Okay.
Is that what he meant?
That was like,
it's about to start.
I mean, it was literally 2.5 years ago, and I'm just like, God, what happened to that? Like, what am I not understanding about that? Because I'm kind of done saying to the Lord, did I hear from you? No, it's like a lot of times you've heard from the Lord. It's just not working out the way you thought. So it's like, okay, what am I not getting? Mm-hmm. What am I not seeing here about this? And because it's the time frame that really pushes the question, mm-hmm. right? But it was just interesting that I started questioning the Lord about that, and then here comes the resurrection of all this parade, fire truck and parade and throwing out extravagant gifts of deliciousness. Mm-hmm. And then the fact that the Lord's like saying, you're blessed, you're done just hearing, we're going to start hearing and seeing. Mm-hmm. And literally, I think it was on the 20th or the 21st, I was asking the Lord about that. And then all these things started happening, you know?
Yeah.
And then I think, what was it? One of those days, or was that yesterday? We went to the zoo.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, our zoo passes still work? And it's like, I thought they expired. Like, no, they still work. It's like, oh, okay, cool, let's go there. Let's do that, you know? And it was just super fun, you know? And then they're doing some rebuilding and renovating there at the Nashville Zoo.
Yeah, massive.
And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, this is prophetic in and of itself.
Yeah.
And so just stuff like that. And we're just like, man, like, Lord, what are you doing? And I really feel like they are prophetic signs of like, see, I'm just warming you up. Wait until things get hot. Then you'll
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. It's like you see visions and the timing is just always different than necessarily what you think.
It's true.
Or just even like we were saying before, that God can bring more clarity and understanding, and there can be multiple dimensions to things. But I really feel like, whoa, are we? So then it becomes the question of like, so are we in that time where we're literally seeing, you know, the start of the parade, like the start, and like,
yeah, that's the question. In this late winter,
yeah,
you know, in the midst of these 3 bonus months of 2024, you know, even though we're in 2025, we're in that extended play of 2024. So a lot of things coming together, and so that's kind of what's going on in our life right now.
Yes.
You know, you know, and then of course you got my little daily videos, my little daily impartations that you can, whenever the next one comes out, you can just watch that whenever, you know. I mean, it's like a library. The library just keeps coming out with episodes, or a TV show, you know, just keeps coming out with episodes, and you just watch them whenever. Like When Calls the Heart, you're waiting for all those episodes to come out, then you'll watch it.
Then I'll watch it.
Because like, it's too good to just wait for another episode.
But maybe it's good, you know.
You're gonna binge it.
No. You have to savor it, but it is nice to know you don't have to wait an entire week.
Yeah, that's true.
Every time, but
yeah. So that's what's going on with us.
Yeah.
Some of the behind the scenes stuff that I don't talk about on the other videos.
Yeah. So we pray that you guys are blessed, and until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.